All right, so Shaquille Baptiste here with interviews. Today I have with me Mr. Gerald Baptiste Jr. I've been knowing this man for my whole life, literally. Similarity in the last name is because this is my father. Uh, Good man, a great man, I should say. Phenomenal dresser, a curator of music, one of the best storytellers, orators is a word he taught me, is a worldwide orator, a travel enthusiast, just an overall man that has lived more life than 10 men, I would say. So introducing Mr. Gerald Baptiste Jr., just want to say what's going on, Pop. Thank you for
Not
giving me
much.
your time.
Oh, always son.
That's your busy schedule in the retired life.
Yes. Finding more ways to do nothing.
I like that. So first question I have for you is, how are you doing?
Doing well. Doing
Okay.
very good. Yeah. Over here in Cannes, enjoying the celebration of acceptance and review for one of my sons' film, and then sharing that experience with my youngest son and their respective kids. So it's a beautiful experience right now. It's uh, the paternal,
Yes, sir.
union
Yes,
of
sir.
the Baptiste men right now, all getting together for a common cause to support one of our own.
Yes, sir. It's a beautiful feeling, I might add. Um, I wanted to ask you, man, going back in life, I could always remember you listening to a lot of music, and it wouldn't just be jazz, it wouldn't just be hip hop, it wouldn't just be punk rock music or oldies R&B. I mean, you literally listened to. I remember sometimes you had Indian music, like Pakistani music
Still
playing.
love that.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, man, just different music. Where would you say you get your love for music from?
Um, I would probably say from my mother and my relatives, my auntie growing up,
Okay.
because they were extremely bad singers. And so it was my search for good music and quality sound. And I remember when I was a kid growing up, there would be a song that I would like originally.
Mhm.
My mother would have a phonograph and she would play that record literally 15, 20 times in a row. And I'd know every high screech, every low off note in key. And,
Okay.
then, and by the end of the night or week, I wouldn't like that song anymore. So it was always a quest
To find
to
something
just
new.
to find something new, something that I like, something that was, in my mind, pure, unadulterated, and extremely designed for me. Like a lot of artists make music that they say is for their public,
Mhm.
but sometimes they'll make a song or two that's specifically designed for a special person. So I just like music that I always felt that the artist was making that song for me.
And I appreciate you for that because
Yeah,
and you express that very well. I too, same thing. I like, if I like it, I like it.
yeah,
I'm not searching for just this genre. If it's a good song, I'm digging it. I'm digging it, man. So it is what it
yeah.
is. Um, Next question I have for you was, growing up, because you were born in Texas, but you also lived in California. So you were born in Texas, but you grew up in California, northern and southern. Um, what region, in your very travel, what region would you say was the best for you growing up in Texas and or Pasadena, California, and or the Bay Area, Berkeley, California?
All of them. I think each one of them. It's like life. Where you are. Period. Where you are in your spiritual growth, where you are in your maturity growth, all represent something. I was born and went to kindergarten, first grade in Texas. That was great because we were born literally in the country. While
Mm-hmm.
born in the country gave me a lot of opportunities to discover the wilderness, nature, literally creeks, rivers, ponds,
Mm-hmm.
um, the forestry area, and with a lot of independence or with a lot of the supervision of my older cousins. Older was only 2 or 3 years older. So while I may have been 5, 6, or 7, they were only 8, 9, or 10.
Right.
And we'd be allowed to go down to the creek or we'd be allowed to go into the woods to just discover. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really mind opening in terms of imagination and just, seeing what nature had to offer and imagining and exploring and trying to create different things. Then when we moved to Pasadena from Texas, that was a culture shock. Literally, it was
Do you
a city.
remember it?
Oh yeah, I do. I remember coming to school and having people just say straight up, first, second day of school, they country. And what they were judging us by basically were our clothes, particularly our shoes, because we had shoes, we had literally overalls. We had a style of jean and dress that was not slick like they had in the city. Not the same type of T-shirt, not the same type of tennis shoes. Um, so it was just, and even our speech was a little different. And kids can be cruel, but kids can also be the most motivating factors on earth.
Absolutely.
Kids shape you in a way that nothing else can, but that's just little people. So you realize that people do the same, except for when you become older and adult yourself, you have more filters that you can sort of like reject, shape your own self based upon those opinions of others. As a kid, I was really traumatized, did not want to go to that school, did not want to live in that city, simply because it wasn't what I was familiar with. And I was more attuned and comfortable in nature than I was with other people. Fortunately, I had a brother and some cousins that all moved from Texas to Pasadena together. So we were able to find our own little bond and kinship and little army and unity. And ultimately, I was able to gain acceptance, or we were able to gain acceptance from just standing our ground, speaking our truth, and then sharing some of the knowledge and experiences we had with our city friends for life to be, because they had never had that.
Right.
Then they wanted to know what was this like and what was that like. So we became the leaders, the storytellers, the narrators, the orators, the griots for that little group who had never had that experience. And again, I go back to my mother and to my aunt and my uncle that were themselves characters, educators, and teachers. So they had taught us more than just our region and our environment. And we were able to compete intellectually with those kids, given that opportunity, physically as well. So that was nice. And then my birthday experience with Northern California, and that was as a young adult and teenager, young adult, and first time at 21. So that was a much more cultivated, elevated person. And by then, I was able to pick and choose my friends, my activities, and the things that I wanted to do in life, the direction I would take to get there to do what I needed to do what I wanted to do.
Growing up, you lived in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s, the 2020s. Of all of these eras that you lived through, all these decades, which decade was your favorite? It doesn't have to be for a particular reason, but just what if you think
It would be the 70s for a
70s?
lot of reasons. Yeah.
Why is that?
It was because that was my coming of age. That was the discovery. That was the period of time in the 70s where I turned basically from 20 to 30. And I realized that I could do a lot of things. As a young man, I didn't realize that I had the ability, I had the desire, and I had the dream, but I didn't know I had the wherewithal.
Right.
In the 70s, a lot of my activities, experiences led me to know that all things were possible and capable if I just dedicated and dictated my own self, actions, desires, and behavior, and just stayed forthright with the course, that I could accomplish those dreams.
Nice. You just recently retired. Do you mind? You don't have to say the company name, but what line of work did you retire from? And since you've retired, how has it been?
Workers' comp, did that for over 29 years, then went into doing pensions. I could talk about the jobs, but that's not necessary. Uh, it's just the newness of retirement. I think it's like a lot of things that the journey always seems to be greater than the destination or the destiny arrival.
Mm-hmm.
You spend so much life trying to get there that once you get there, you don't know if this is the end or if this is just where you always wanted to be and needed to be. And then what I find basically is that getting there is where you need to be. That's the journey through life. That's the beautiful part. That's the actual action part. So for me right now, I've only been retired for 3 weeks. And then the 3 weeks that I've been retired, it still feels to me like I'm on the journey. And I haven't got to that point yet of that space in my life where I realize the journey's over. The destination I've arrived, so what do I do now? And the main thing I'm trying to do right now is stop the journey.
Mm.
I'm here. So we'll see what happens from here on out.
Well, I want to congratulate you, Dad,
Oh, thank you.
on your retirement, and not just so much the hustle and bustle of working and stuff like that, but just it's a milestone in life that everybody would love to do. Put in years in a company, at a good job, get a pension check, and or whatever other subsidiaries come your way.
Social Security pension,
Social Security
2
pension.
separate checks
Uh-huh. So you're getting 2 checks for life, man.
for life.
For life, man. You said. And one day you get you a yacht, travel the world, and or get you an RV, travel the country, or whatever it is you choose to do. You can look back and say, you know what, I worked for this and I earned this. And that's a good feeling because a lot of people that don't actually never get a chance to fully enjoy themselves. I think about my mom. My mom passed away, God bless her soul.
God bless her.
Yeah, man, she passed away and she still was working. She never got the chance to retire, So a lot of people, that's just one, but it's a lot of people who they check out before it's time to retire and actually enjoy life. And for you, Dad, I can say that you've always had a project going on the weekends. So even though you ain't going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you come home Saturday and you're in the garden, you're building a dresser, you're doing something on your car, you're cleaning out the garage, the shed, you're always doing something, so you're a workaholic. And I know that's where I get that from, man. It's got to stay busy. And I'm sure you're gonna find something new, to keep you entertained, to keep you entertained and for you to work on. Um, my next question is, man, I wanted to ask you, how old were you the first time that you fell in love?
I would say probably 13, 14.
What was her name? Do you remember?
Yeah, Delphine Hastings, which is
Delphine.
really kind of amazing because I just ran into one of her good friends, Sharon, back in November.
Wow.
And
She's still alive?
Yeah, she said, "Do you remember me?" And I didn't. And she said, "I'm Sharon, Delphine's friend." Boom, Sharon came into mind. I remember you, Sharon. I remember. How is she doing, by the way? I think that was a puppy love.
Mm-hmm.
But what I recall most about that is I was so infatuated with her. Getting not my first, but my regular kisses, holding hands in school, having people say, the two of them are an item or a couple, and feeling that union, that bond, everything was wonderful for 2 or 3 months. And then I guess she felt somebody that just better than me.
Yeah.
And then I heard the rumors, and it became a fact with her and him that she was going with him then, not me. And I felt crushed.
Broke your heart, huh?
Broke my heart. I didn't want to go back to school or anything.
Oh, man.
And my mother was the first one to corner. Oh, that boy just in puppy love.
Uh-huh.
So I think that would be that first sense of that feeling. And then probably the second time I was in what I consider love would have been college.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I had a coin, basically a phrase that was loyal to none, but everyone. And so I was trying to be a ladies' man, a little player, whatever, and was really pretty successful. Matter of fact, quite successful at that. And then I'd have to protect and avoid any type of emotional contact. Still not having got over that little puppy love stuff 4 or 5 years earlier. Mm-hmm. And anytime I started to feel myself becoming a little bit too attracted, a little bit bonded with some young lady, I would create a situation to dissolve and break up that just to go move on to somebody else so I wouldn't be stuck there with that same feeling again. And probably in college, and that would be probably my daughter's mother, where I felt at that period of time because we went through a lot studying together, experiencing a lot of trips and different things together. So it was that whole exploration, and creating a trust that I would say probably was love. Then, second or third time, if you count puppy love or not, would have been with your mom, with Monique. And for a lot of reasons, because I saw a lot of gullibleness in her, a lot of purity, a lot of religion, a lot of faith, a lot of trust, compassion. And so there was a bond that I needed that time in my life
Right.
tremendously, because I was not right to myself and others around me, and I needed someone to call me on my shit,
Yeah.
as well as to straighten me out when I was wrong, pray for me in a way that made me feel the spirit of knowing that, you know, her prayers were being received by God, and His hand was on me, saying, not, if not for yourself, then for her, and if not for her, then for your children. And that was a special spirit. That was a elevated love. And I think that when we go through love, we go through the different levels too. Everyone's trying to get to the agape love. That was probably closest I had to agape, because
Forever love.
forever, because it was hitting on all the other levels that the others were just precursors and trainer emotions to get to this emotional state. Yeah.
That's deep. Thank you for sharing that too, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great
It's all
answer.
been, well, the culmination is I'm married right now and in love right now, and it's more of a partnership, you know. And I feel that love is like three ships. It's like the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. You know, it's the Columbus voyage to the New World.
So that's what that we gonna say slow down, Turbo, because you already
Yeah,
answered my next question
yeah.
without me asking it. But I'm glad you touched on that. As we look at some ships out there, I wanted to ask you that. Seriously, you took it right out of my mouth, man. That's my next question. What is love to you? Whether it be a feeling, an idea, an emotion, a facade, does it exist? Does it not exist? Is it an expression, like just a word, or is it just what is love? The word love, just the definition of what is your definition of love is what I'm asking.
Well, that's a big umbrella to put, you know, all these things under one tent. But
Mm,
you know, it's a lot of things. But it's being with somebody basically that you have full compassion, attraction, trust, and faith in, which is the main thing. You know, right, wrong, left, right, you know, up, down, whatever the situation happens to be, that two of you in it together.
okay.
And you in it together working it side by side. Now, you may not be agreement with that. I was told once before by a wise lady named Elma Louise Baptiste
Mm-hmm.
that they're like,
God bless
I'm going with the ships, but before we get to the ships, to board on the ship, you got to have these tickets.
you. Okay.
And you have to have an understanding, you have to have an acceptance, and you have to have an agreement. You may not totally understand what that person is going through, but you accept the fact that they're going through something, and you agree to try to help them, or whatever that is that they're going through, but you don't understand it. You may understand something that somebody's going through, you don't accept it because it's not anything you would do or support, but you agree with what they're going through for them, because that's their trip, that's their thing, not yours. So you don't accept, you don't want to be a partner. And you can have somebody that you understand what they're going through, you accept what they're going through, but you don't agree with it. Okay? Love to me is having all those things. It's your ticket to get on the ship. Okay? It's saying like, regardless, if I understand, accept, agree, if I do one, two, or all three of those, this person that I'm with right now is still gonna board this ship with me. We moving forward. All right? We're not leaving nobody there at the port. We're not stopping to get off. We in it together. Now when we get off this vessel, we could talk about that issue. We could talk about the misunderstanding. We could talk about the non-acceptance or the disagreement, because the strength of our relationship is based on love, and we're doing it together. There's going to be disagreements, there's going to be misunderstandings, and there's going to be times where you don't accept that other person, but you never falter nor leave them, because you know at the end of the day, the two of you going to work that thing out to make that stronger, and you're going to cover all bases. Sometimes some of these things go unsaid because it's best to leave it that way. And you leave it unsaid and you leave it alone because it's best to leave it that way for the two of you. So my love is based upon the fact that uh, through it all, doing it all, we know that we're going to be together through it all. That's love. Because there's a lot of people that's going to get off at the next stop. Matter of fact, they may even jump the ship and try to swim back to shore. You know, this person with you is like, we in it for the full ride. It's
So
me and you.
is it more like loyalty, um, dedication, commitment?
You know, it's a word that you left out, that's trust. And
Mm,
and there's something that another wise man, Gerald Baptiste Sr. once told me, and that is pride Some people have too much pride. Pride is not an equally measured or equally practiced thing. Some people have too much pride, so they look down on everybody. Other people don't have enough pride, so they look up helpfully for other people to provide for them. But integrity is always equally measured. You act upon what is right and what is best, what you know to be true and pure, what you know to be correct. That's integrity. And it's always equally yoked and equally measured. Trust is knowing that that person that you're in this bond with has integrity. A lot of people, man, on my word, man, man, I ain't gonna do that based on my pride. Well, you just lose me right there. Because I figure right there, your pride is gonna be up and down. And I don't know where I am in that pride scale. If I'm on the low end where you think you're better than me because you got too much pride, or up on the high end, and you ask me, okay, can you please provide this for me? And because you don't have enough pride and you think that I can help you out of the situation that you're perfectly capable of doing yourself.
Right.
Integrity. So with trust, it's knowing that no matter what the situation is, me and that person know that that person that we're trusting will do their best to be right in the situation, to handle that with integrity for them and for me. They're doing it for us. And that's the person I trust. So it's all those other things that you mentioned, but it's a person that I know at the end of the day, whatever the outcome is, we were in it together. If I was a participant in that or not, that person know that they already got my blessing to go forward with whatever that action was. So it's just knowing that at the end of that, again, we're riding that ship in that vessel. We're doing our thing together. It's us. And I will be there for them side by side. And it happens to be also spiritual. It's a physical thing too, that we mesh in a way that we can express ourselves and our appreciation for that person, financially with gifts or whatever it happens to be, which is not really the thing. The main thing is that we are able to provide for each other, provide the provisions for one another, and reward, compensate, and basically share. Here's how much I love you in the physical manner and spiritual manner as well. Love. And it's not sex, but it is. Definitely is. But not only. So yeah. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yes, sir. That's a very that's a deep answer, man. Very, very very, very that's a thought out answer. I can tell that you've asked yourself that before. What does love mean to me? It's something that you thought
about.
I have.
I've been with some people before where I was in deep lust.
Okay.
Deep lust.
Yeah.
Because woo wee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah. One more yeah. Amen. Hallelujah. Let's do it again. But I ain't staying.
Right.
You ain't got to put me out, baby. I'm leaving right
going.
now.
Yeah.
I will be back. Okay, don't worry about that. Tomorrow, maybe in the morning. I ain't going to be gone long, but I ain't staying tonight. I am gone.
Right.
Because that was not my forever person.
Right. And you knew that though.
But sometimes that, it, but just one more time.
One more time.
One more, maybe two. But one more for sure. One more for sure. Okay. And that's what that is. And then you realize after that, I don't even want one more right now because I'm fooling myself. But it's a good joke. It's a hell of a great joke. I'm laughing right now, thinking about doing that joke, playing that joke again.
I remember you told me something, man. I was a kid. I probably was about 13, 14 years old. And I think I just started being, recently I started being sexually active. And I think my girlfriend had cheated on me or something. And you told me, man, it was my first love. My little heart got broken, crushed too. And I called you and I told you, you said, Shaquille, pussy is like a spoon. You wash it off and it's good as new.
Use it again.
And I was like, Dad, no, I'm not talking about dishes, man. I'm talking about my girl. She cheated on me, man. She had sex with my friend. You said, Shaquille, think about what I just said. I got to go. I'll call you back, son. You'll be all right. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to think about that. But I tell people that for the last past 20 years, I've said that I don't know how many hundreds of times. I told Khalid this, my son, your grandson. I told him this, man. Because his little girlfriend, she with one of his buddies now. And I told him, I said, look, he's still, he's not there yet. I'm thankful.
It's going to happen to us all.
Yeah, for sure, man. But it's how we respond to those things, and how we look at it. I think a lot of times, man, it's reality, and then it's also perspective. And the reality of the situation is, yes, it's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get your heart broke, but your perspective, it guarantees how you react to those certain precursors, how you react to certain situations, how you react to unfortunate events. Is how do you perceive things? Um, I wanted to ask you something else, and it kind of slipped my mind right now, but still kind of related, but not too far off. When it comes down to relationships with family members, or when it comes down to relationships with coworkers, or relationships with your neighbors, like Mr. Dave, or when it comes down
Good
to,
neighbor.
he's a good neighbor. I'm good. I'm a good neighbor, Gerald.
Yes, he is.
Yes, Dave, you are a good neighbor.
Yes.
Shout out to Dave. Uh, when it comes down to your relationships with anybody, not just saying sexual, because this was a question I have for you. How much do you value relationships? And I'm sure it depends on who the relationship is with. So it's kind of case by case. But relationships to you, do you see yourself as the one who puts the relationship on their back and has to carry it? Or do you look at it as it's like a mutual thing? Or, it is what it is. It's like if I have this relationship or not, or any relationship or not. Some people are loners. Some people they have to be validated and told that, they're needed and important. How do you see relationships?
I see all the answers that you just had.
Okay.
And that is that there's a time and place for everything and for everybody. Now, I am not Superman.
Right.
Matter of fact, I am not rich.
Yeah.
And as good looking as I am, I'm not the best looking man in the world. Okay.
True. But you are very handsome and you are
Physically,
very wealthy. And I always thought you were Superman, but we go.
physically, there are a lot more people out there, men and women both, more physically adept at doing certain things. All right. I can't give a baby. I wouldn't want to. There are men that are stronger. There are women that are more flexible, whatever that situation happens to be. In any relationship, a relationship for me is based, again, not just upon trust, but it's based upon the ability and the need. I think, need is more than anything. My mother once told me I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And I base that upon relationships too. I'd rather have a friendship and not need it than need a friendship and not have it. I've gone to my friends over the course, and family members more than friends, and asked them for a variety of things: money, place to stay, food, advice, okay, a car, loaning of a car. So there have been times in my life that I've needed something. I know that my mother had probably the most charitable heart of anybody that I've met up until your mother. Monique had a very charitable heart where they would see people on the street and buy them something or give something, and those were complete strangers. Now, I look at relationship with family members and friends. One of the things that's always a strong precursor for me and a strong guideline is basically that person. What type of person is that? Okay. I have a cousin. I had a cousin, bless his soul, Ray. We used to call him Ray Baby. Love him. For anybody that knows him, family members see this, you know what I'm talking about. Loved him.
God bless.
Loved him. Would give my heart and soul for him, and he would do the same for us. However, I would not do anything with him in a store or a bank because that boy subject to rob them with quickness, and did that with me before. Did that with your Uncle Byron. We went into a store to buy basically beer and cigarettes, and next thing I know, he pulling out a gun and asking for the money. Wait, hey, I'm paying for my. Cuz, take my money too. I ain't got nothing to do with this, okay? And that happened to me. That happened to Bart. Love him. Don't trust him. There are certain situations that can't be in. So as a relationship with him, it's always guarded. Everything's got to be controlled in certain public places. Okay,
Right.
got to be people around and witnesses.
They might get robbed too, though. So,
but look,
right.
I'm just sitting. He came and got me first. Okay,
Right.
you see me hand him some money, right?
Right.
That's what that was. Like, take this right now, make it look like you robbing me too. Right. I can't be involved with you. But with that being said and done, I've been with some women who have asked me, basically, can I help them out and assist them with rent,
Yeah.
with food, with various things, and they would do whatever for me that I like for that. Sometimes I took them up for it. Other times I just helped with no reciprocation. Sometimes I didn't help at all, depending on that person because I knew their nature.
Right.
So when I look at somebody's nature and somebody's history, I just develop my response and relationship differently because, again, I've called upon the need of others to help me. So I try to treat everybody based upon what I perceive will help them best from me. And it's a thing sometimes where I look at that like God. God don't always give you what you want, but He always delivers and provides for you what you need. Okay. Now, how does God make that determination? That's all from some divine intervention. I try to use that intervention, but it's more of human, Gerald intervention. And sometimes people say, hey, look, tell you a story. I was at the Vatican in Italy.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking out the Vatican. I see a lady there. She got her 2 kids. They got the saddest faces I've ever seen. It could have been pictures of paintings. And they're sitting there and they're saying, oh, money, money for water. Can I get water? And the little kids just sitting up there. They got these little dry, thirsty faces that they're making and everything. And I'm not too sure. So there's a store right there. So I go in the store, I buy two bottles of water, and I come back for her and her kids to give her the water and look and say, here you go, ma'am. And she looked at me, she said, motherfucker, I don't want no water. I told your ass I wanted money for water. Where's the goddamn money? I don't want no motherfucking water. So what happens, what am I trying to make?
Wait. He was in Italy?
She said, can I have some money for some water?
She said it in English?
Monsieur, money for agua, money for dinero for agua, for the babies, for niños,
Wait.
Money for agua.
Wait. So wait. She turned from Maria from the Vatican into Sharonda from Compton.
Look at that little dirt makeup started to slide down and everything. It hit right here and it came back up like that. And it was me like, no, I don't want no goddamn water. I said I wanted money for the water. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I got water here. Now you can have the water. But I'm keeping the money, all right?
So you had good intentions.
Best.
And this woman had bad intentions. So do you think that's a lot about intentions, or?
I gotta say, she was honest with her intentions.
Okay.
If she did say she wanted money for the water, I had better deeds and intention. My interpretation, like God, doesn't give you always what you want, but He gives you what you need. I was trying to provide the need. We're gonna cut out the middle, man. If you need water for your babies, I can just get that for you.
Right.
The money for the water may go somewhere else. I can get the water for you. But that's not really what she wanted. She was using the money for the water as an excuse to get the money. She did not appreciate my effort. And that let me know right then, okay? You can't always trust people what they're asking, or you got to pay attention. So I don't fault her for me being non-intentive because my intent was as good as hers. Just my delivery upon her request pissed her off, okay? Because I didn't provide to her for what she totally wanted. And that's the way I see relationships sometimes. If you're not careful and you don't see the signs or hear the words that people are saying and asking you about helping them, it's not even help. Sometimes it's being with people. I know people that call me up and I have absolutely no patience for it because I realize for the next 15, 20, 25 minutes, I'm going to be listening to them and their story. That's not always in the moment something that I'm willing to do with my time.
Right.
Okay, this is a total subject that you haven't broached at this period of time. I'm going to hit it real fast. If you got a question for it, I'll come back to it. But for me, the most precious thing that man has on earth is time.
So that's the most precious commodity human has.
It's time.
Because we can always go get some more money. You told me this. You always go get some more money, son. You can't go get more time.
No, and they can't buy back that time you lost. They can't replace that time. And it happens with us all the time. I told you about Delphine. She's still alive. I haven't seen Delphine in probably 5 years. If I was to see her today, I have no doubt we would laugh, we would joke, we reminisce. but I wouldn't ask her to be my girlfriend again, and she wouldn't take me back.
Right.
You know, at that period of time, like, oh, you broke my heart. Oh, Gerald, I like you. You're a nice guy. You're really cool, and you know everything like this and that too. But we both moved on from that right away because we can never go back and get that back again. It's gone. You know, you move on with life, and I think that's what happens to a lot of us, uh, me as well. But for a lot of people, with no specific incident that I share, but we get caught up in a time lapse that all we do is get stuck in a certain period, certain place, whereas the time that passes us by does not let us evolve or elevate our life, lifestyle, or ability to share with others. And one other thing I'll just add to that, and that is that basically, I think the greatest gift that we have for one another is the ability to share. It's the ability to provide for others and share, and to love them while we're doing it. Because you can be a pastor in church said one time, as he was passing the plate, give, be a grateful giver, be a joyous giver. I'm
Wow.
like, man, look, this is my last $20. You know,
Right.
I gotta get change out the bucket when they come around, because I ain't just putting it in there.
Right.
But ain't no joy in this.
Right.
Why would you give this sermon? Got me all geeked up and then ask for my last $20. Ain't a lot of joy in that. But
Right.
I think that the key to life is being, for me, not for everybody, but for me, is definitely being a joyful giver. There is something to that.
Hmm. I think that's deep, and I think that's like a rabbit hole. We can continue going down that. We're not gonna go down a rabbit hole because you hit the nail on the head. And with that, I had one of my brothers. He told me, not your physical son, not to salt, but one of my friends. I call him my brother. He told me, he said, God, he said, you know what, Shaq? Why God gonna keep blessing you? His name is Mo. He got a 650 smoke shop over there in Daly City. And Mo told me, man. He said, hey, Shaq, bro. He called me up. He's from Yemen. He's from the Bay, so he talk, but he's Yemeni. And he told me, he goes, hey, Shaq, bro, I just wanted to tell you something. Just randomly called me up one day. I'm like, what's up, bro? He said, you know why God don't keep blessing you? And I was like, I don't know, because I got a good heart. He said, God don't keep blessing you so that way you can bless others.
That's right.
All right, bro, let me get back to what I was doing. I just want to tell you that, though, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. All right, I got on the phone with him. So if Mo's watching this, man, shout out to you. I'll never forget that. He said, God's going to continue to bless me so that way I can continue to bless others. And I've had this conversation with others. My perspective on that has not changed since that day. That God will give us things to give to others, but at the same time, we have to keep stuff for ourselves. Everything we get, I've heard stories of people who give, people's grandmas give they get their check and they give it right to the church, and then they sit them in a project somewhere, their lights getting cut off, now they calling their grandsons and their daughters or sons, can you pay my light bill? And they're like, Grandma, Mom, you just got paid, why you give it off to the church? Don't be foolish with it, but nevertheless, it goes to good intention. If you're to give somebody something with the intention of doing good, keep it there. God will bless you. Now, if you're giving it to give it because you feel peer pressured or if you feel forced, that's not good intention. Or if you're giving it to have it like, hey, I did that for you, that's not a good intention, but God will continue to bless those with good intentions. So that way those people can bless others and so on and so forth. They can bless others and those others can bless others and so forth. So I'm a firm believer in that. My next question, though, Dad, is what I wanted to ask you. What does a father look like to you? So I've been a father for, in August 11th, it'll be 14 years now, man. So I'm not new to this. I'm definitely not as experienced in fatherhood as you are. I have quite some time to go. But with the amount of children that I have and your grandchildren, um, it's definitely a stressful job. And not stressful in the sense that I want to quit and give up. Um, it has its moments where it's fun. It has its moments where it's sad. It has its moments where it's raw. It has its moments where it's frustrating. It has its moments where it's back against the wall. It has its moments, man, where I say, hey, one day it's all gonna pay off. I had some moments where I say, I wish I never had no children. Not saying I want the children I have, to die, nothing like that, God forbid, but I think about things like, man, what would life have been if I didn't have children, or if I was 33 years old like I am now? and just have my first child. Spent all those years on myself to learn myself first, to travel the world, to come to Cannes, to come, just to do the things that I wanted to do, without having to always look over somebody else or have somebody else's feelings or well-being, in the front foremost or the back part of my mind. What does a father look like to you?
Well, fatherhood is almost like being the warden on Alcatraz,
Mm.
or better yet, like Swift's Family Robinson.
Who is that?
It's Swiss Family Robinson, old 1700, a book that was written, I think, by a Frenchman, if I'm not mistaken, Hans Christian Andersen.
Okay.
And what he was saying basically is that um, back during those eras, there was a cruise ship that crashed, and this family, it was a family, mother, father, two brothers, three daughters, however many it was of them, 7 to 8 of them in this one family survived. They survived on the island alone. They explored the island. They built them a little house there. They built them a little society there. They did everything. They learned to turn flowers into soap. They was able to hunt wild boar, the fish, to grow farm there. The whole little thing. They was on that island for all those years together, only be rescued by a ship years later. And by the time the ship came on, they were now amongst people again. They had developed their own lifestyle, their own habit. They had to commingle. They had to intersperse with other people at this period of time. So for me, a father is like, while we were on that island together, what traits, what skills, what abilities were taught by me, Mr. Robinson, to all of the other people on the island? Okay, do you guys have hunting skills? Do you have gathering skills? Do you have grooming skills? Do you have speech skills? Do you have social skills? Can you get on this ship? Okay, and cohabitate and actually be a positive addition to that crew. We haven't been on the ship since it wrecked. We're a little bit concerned about getting on boats again, but we happen to be on one, and we can do some things on this for you too while we're here. Now, when this docks and we all get off, we're gonna be all right. All right, we're rediscovering the new land as well because we've been on this island for all those years, and we are well prepared. So for me, a father is getting everybody prepared to um, provide their chores. I'm a firm believer in chores and duties while on the island. And then when you get off, you get on board to continue to exercise and whatever type of maintenance is required of you there on the ship. But when you get off and you hit that new land, oh, you're ready to lead at that period of time. That you have the skills to make it and be self-sufficient. You don't need nobody for nothing. You can provide all of the necessities of your life as well as those of others. You can share for them. You can develop their skill sets to help them go out there and grow the others. And you are the centerpiece. You're the person that helped initiate their skill sets and their desire to learn and to grow and to create and to obtain new skills. Okay, but at the end of that, I go back to my understanding, acceptance, and agreement. As the father, you realize that all your kids, or a kid if you only have one, may not understand why you're telling them these things, may not accept them, be a little bit rebellious, may not agree with what you're saying as a father to them. But over the course of time, when they become a parent, they can, basically regurgitate and recite some of those things that you told them at that period of time when they were at that age. And then you understand why you were told that, and you try to get your kid to understand why they're doing that. So for me, it's just basically a person that owns a tool shop. Come to me and you get your equipment, and I feel like this, with all the equipment I got and all the tools that I got. If I give you some of that, you should be able to work. You should be able to handle a saw. You should be able to handle a drill. You should be able to hammer. You should be able to screw. You should be able to build something. If you ain't building a hut or a hammock or a house or something, you should be able to work through life. Create a garden, raise cows and chickens, literally, or come in here and be able to operate a cell phone or a computer. You should have enough verbally. And I think for me, as a father, the number one thing I've always tried to instill my kids, I want you to always be able to speak up, up, speak up, because that's what my mother told me. You don't always have to speak out, but you got to speak up. Okay. Now, speaking out can be quite dangerous in certain situations. Speaking up, whatever danger it is, you're doing that for yourself and for others. Speaking out can sometimes you just trying to be an asshole. So with that, if you're speaking up or speaking out, whatever you happen to do, you have the capabilities to do that. Don't be a mutant. Don't be mum. Don't be mushmouth. I may not agree with you. I may not understand, and I definitely may not, um, uh, I already said agree, but may not feel the same as you do on the subject. But that you're able to do that, I'm extremely proud as a father because my kids speak up and they speak out. A lot of times to my displeasure, but hey, they have that ability to do it. They don't sit there, no. Because I remember an incident one time with my mother. We was in the car, and she said something to me, and I said, and she said, "What did you say? You about to slap that bitch? That bitch better not say nothing else to you." I said, "Mama, I didn't say that." She said, "No, you said." I said, "Yeah." I said, She said, "There you go, motherfucker. I'm about to pull over right now. Let me get you out the car and slap you. You can come over and slap me." And I said, "Mama, I didn't say that." She said, "Whenever you mumble, I'm gonna always take it as I'm about to slap this bitch." And that always stuck with me because I ain't never. Okay, I mumbled. I don't think I thought I was gonna slap her. That wasn't really what the mumble was about, but I always knew if I mumble around my mama, she gonna
She want
interpret this
to
as
take
I'm
it
about to.
as that.
So that's gonna break me from this mumbling around her,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Because she already told me
How
what my
she taking
mumbles,
it? Yeah,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
mean to her. How she taking my mumbles. So, it's just certain lessons that speak up. And she always told me, now if you tell me, son, you about to slap me, I'm pulling over still, okay? But I know what your intentions are. But when you say, I don't know which way you're gonna do it. If you're coming from the left, if you're coming from the right, okay? But I know you about to slap me, because I done told you when you mumble, that's how I'm taking it.
I'm gonna just pause you right there for a second. It's so funny. I must got a lot of Grandma Louise in me, man, because when not Carmiso, when Khalid say something under his breath, I'm big on Khalid. I tell Khalid to do the dishes. She in there, she a little lippy moving. I said, "What?" I said, "You call my mama fat? What you say? You said I'm stupid. You said my daddy can't. You said my daddy ugly. What you say? Shit. I didn't say that." And this is the first time you told me that story. So
Oh
that's
yeah, it's
interesting.
true. It's true.
I do the same thing. I never even met her. You can ask them. They'll tell you, like, man, whatever they say under their breath, I make a whole big issue. I know they didn't say that, but I make a whole scenario. But if like, Dad, I didn't say that. Okay, well, what did you say? Why did you say under your breath? Say it to me and make it clear and eligible so I can
Yeah,
hear it.
yeah.
That's Go ahead, Dad. Finish what you're saying, man. But that's deep.
No, so basically the whole thing as a father, I'm just saying this is my mother told me something, and this is why I get this really. I'm big on this, and your Uncle Byron and Gerald same way. And that is, be a provider for your own,
Yeah.
and what you can't provide, give them a fishing pole or a hook. Let them seek out their own baits, but show them how to cast out and reel in. Let them do that for themselves. You ain't got to go out there and do everything for them. Okay, they have to have the ability to do it themselves. Not only that, but you have to make sure that they can speak up and ask for theirs when they don't have it and they need it, and that's expressed. Because sometimes people don't have things that they give away. Other times, people have them because they didn't try to get it, and other times people just don't have it because they want it, but they really don't want it. So they get it and they don't keep it. Make sure that they understand the value, and the easiest way to make anybody value anything in life, the easiest way is to make them work for it.
Hmm.
Because once they put in that blood, sweat, and tears, and they think about being out there in the hot sun, they think about being out there in the rain, they think about getting the blisters and calluses, they think about losing time. All my friends was at the party, and I was over here working, doing this. And they told me it was the best party ever in high school.
They're gonna appreciate that.
They're gonna appreciate it.
Yeah.
What do I have for not being there? What do I have for doing what I did for that? It's getting this money and getting this thing that I bought with that money. So you value whatever it is you either purchase or earn when you work for it. And the harder the work and the labor that they provide or that they exert in getting that ability to obtain either financial or gifting sweat equity based upon the labor they put in there, they'll have an appreciation for that. A lot of people make demands and they get things and they don't value it because it was given to them, and because it was given to them, it was free. Quick story. I was back in New York working in New Jersey, and I went to a clothing store, men's clothing store that had nice suits. Loved the suits they had in there. And they were on sale, going out of business. Everything must go. So I went in there, saw a suit I liked, and I told the guy, I said, listen, man, I'll give you half price for this. And he said, no. He said, you see the sticker on there? That's how much it costs. I said, yeah, but you guys are going out of business. This is all the money I got right here. I'll give you this money right here and give me the suit. This one less item inventory you have right there. You got to keep on stock. It's a sale. He said, yeah, for that price right there on the suit. And I'm sitting there trying to barter with him to break it down. He ain't budget. And I'm not slick enough, silver-tongued enough to get him to accept my lowered offer. So I said to him, I said, man, you trying to jack me up on this, that you say it's a sale at this price right here, but you know, it's probably overpriced anyway, and this is probably the real price. By the way, what is the real price for this? And he looked at me and he said, the real price for that is what you pay for it. It's the price right there on the suit. Now, that story's over. And the point that I always took away from that is the value for anything that you get in life, that you purchase in life, is what you pay for it. That was the lesson I learned from that.
Did you get the suit?
No.
But you got the lesson though.
I got the lesson.
For free.
Ask Byron about that. Ask your Uncle Byron. I told Byron that, and Byron shared that, man, this is what you're going to pay. The people out there, this is what they pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's valued at. And that was the lesson. It wasn't even the suit. It wasn't even the going through that. The verbal lesson is what I gained from that, and that's simple at its core. Diamonds. People buy diamond rings. Mm-hmm. I had a girlfriend back in high school. She worked for a diamond store. She sold me this Rolex, right? This is when they first came out. They weren't big like they are now. And I saw it, I eyed it back in the day. I got it from her. She broke it on sale. Mm-hmm. She gave it to me at a sale price. And she said, Gerald, listen. That was one of the reasons I dated her. She said, listen. She said, all diamonds and jewelry have at least a minimum of a 300% markup. Most of them have a 400 or 450. That's about the going rate. 350, 400. Some of the other more sparkly ones, the ones that are a little bit more desirable, attractive, that are eye catchers, 450. She said, but the regular gold, the regular diamonds, automatic stamp, you know, coming through the door, we putting a 300% markup on this. That always stuck with me. So if I pay $12,000 for a diamond ring and somebody else pays $1,200 for that same exact ring, what's the value of the rings? It's the same ring.
It's just what you pay for it.
It's what you pay for it.
That's a life lesson right there, man.
Yeah. And look at, we here in Cairns right now.
It's 2 people in the water. I just noticed that, man. It's ice cold.
Yeah, it is. They probably do this all the time.
That's crazy. I'm listening to you though, Dad.
You go somewhere and the item's on sale one day, any store, any item, it's on sale one day and the next day it's not on sale anymore. Mm-hmm. You ever think that somebody bought that same product on sale that you're not paying full price for? And They paying full price for something that you bought the day before on sale. Same thing. It could be a box of rice. It could be a 6-pack of sodas. Same item.
I remember you told me something, Dad. I had been about 10 years old. And you told me, you said, son, just me and you. I was in your car. You remember you had that little Nissan,
Yeah.
little blue, that little blue. I think the screech you started up.
Man, I had that car for 3 or 4 years. I thought it was gonna stop on me every day.
Yeah,
Every day I thought it was the last day.
People used to laugh at me, man. I heard you coming to school this morning. I'm like, man, bro, shut up, you know. But I remember you told me something, man. You said, son, always make sure you buy tools. And I said, tools like chainsaws and stuff. You said anything. Just make sure you buy yourself tools. And I said, okay, why did you say that, Dad? And you said, because a tool will always be able to generate you more money. And I never forgot that. Always stuck with me. So in my life, I got, actual tools, drills. I got saws. I got lawnmowers. I got, heat press machines. I got clippers. I got cameras and GoPros, and I got things that I could always use. Yeah, I may have paid $300 for it. I may have paid $1,000 for that, but I made that money back within the first month, and I'm still going to continue to make money off of that. So I was like, that's some good game you gave me. So I always to invest in tools because tools can make money for you, and I always like that. I guess my last question. Well, it's not my last question. I have one more question, and then the final will be, I'd like some advice from you for the viewer, whoever's listening. But my next question is, what is the definition of a man? M-A-N. What does a man look like to you? What are the qualities? What are the characteristics of a man?
Man, a man is the most complex thing on this earth, man.
Wow.
So it's like the 7 stages of Dr. Chow or whatever that movie was back in the day, man. And that is, we go through our infant, juvenile, young adult, where we're questioning everything in life, to that person that's working to get it to that person and then has it. A person who eventually can give it to others. But man, to me, is a person that stands on his morals and stands on his principles. A person that you may or may not agree with them, but they have principles. They have integrity, and that's what they're basing their actions on. Now, I think some people are just fucked up individuals. I don't know how they became who they are or what they are. But at the same time, you can measure the acquisitions of things that they have and say that man right there is very successful. Okay. But that person doesn't have the ability to share, to love, to give, to encourage, because everything is about self. So they're very selfish and devious in their deeds and their acts. That man is hard to measure to me because they can provide, but they just choose not to. Then there are other people I've met in my life, your mother being one of them, biggest heart in the world, who would give away everything to somebody else. Love feeding people, love seeing people eating and happy. As long as somebody else was smiling and happy, oh girl, this is so good. They were bursting with joy. Now that's men and women who have this gift, okay? But they don't really have all abilities and resources to give. So when you ask me what a man is, man, I think a man is a person who understands who they are, what they are, and they have a desire and a design to help other people to obtain and achieve their goals, their vision, their dreams. I don't want to say a man, because men becomes envious, jealous. I have those traits and tendencies myself. I try to keep those down and weed them out. But every now and then they rear up. For the most part, they don't. I think I have a generous heart. I'm not sure, but I give more than I keep.
You do.
So my thing is basically to encourage others, to educate, and I come from a family, a background. Both my grandparents, both my grandmothers. My grandparents were ministers. My grandmothers were cooks and very active in the community. My mother was a school teacher. My father was a probation officer, later to become the executive director for Center for Independent Living, giving and helping out people with disabilities. So I've always been, it's in my blood to help and to give. That's me. Other people, and men particularly, don't have that gift. So, or that desire. So when you ask me what a man is somebody who not only provides for him, his family and himself, but his extended family, nuclear family, um, friends, and they have a true joy. Again, like the minister said to me when I was down and out, this one
Be a
time,
joyous giver.
be a joyous giver.
be,
You was there with me, I
be
think
a
so.
good giver. Be a
Yeah,
good giver.
no,
No, be a
no, yeah,
joyous
not a
giver.
good giver. I was sold on good. He kind of lost me with the joyous, all right, because I wasn't joyful at that time. But right now, later in life, I fully understand it. So I think a man to me would be a joyful giver, a person who has the ability and the desire to give, does that graciously, does that joyfully, and help other people feel good about themselves and the gifting that they receive from this person. So, there's a lot that comes to that. And in that is, if you're looking at being a provider and a giver, starts with your offspring, your kids. What do you instill upon them? If you don't know exactly how to do calculus or geometry, what the square root of anything is, can you provide resources and sources for that child to go to a book, a lesson plan, or a tutor or a teacher and then learn? Okay, you don't have to always be the teacher, but can you provide resources and sources for that person to learn? All right, and so it's the same thing. You can't always provide meals for people. You want to, but maybe not always. But can you send them over to grandmas? Can you send them over to aunties? Can you send them to the next door neighbor until next week when you can also provide and feed their kids wherever that everyone says, oh yeah, this little you, they welcome, and you ain't even got to ask. Bring them on. Can you provide things that aren't always a direct